So I started a series. It was about obesity in adults, a medical condition called Korshiokor in children. And we talked about stroke. We talked about diabetes. So I try to explain this to you. So you see, basically, children takes breast milk, which is very high in protein. The main function of protein is to elongate the bones of children and to enlarge it. So when children are born at a very early age, they grow very fast. There's a part of the bone, which is the growth region, that divides very fast to cause them to grow. And one meaningful nutrient that is responsible to accelerate growth is protein. That's why your children food diet should be more in protein than carbohydrate. So let's talk about obesity. Let's know something about stroke. Let's know something about diabetes. So when we eat, adults, when we eat, digestion starts in the mouth. The chewed food passes through our esophagus, go into our stomach, further digestion takes place, especially with the addition of hydrochloric acid. The food then moves into our stomach, small intestines. In our small intestines, absorption takes place. Absorption is the taking up of food nutrients from the food we eat so that they can be utilized by cells. So what happens here is this. As the food goes into our small intestines, they are absorbed into our bloodstream. When they are absorbed into our bloodstream, they are transported to every cell of our body. Cells are living things. Our bodies are made of trillions of cells. Since they are living things, they need nutrients to eat, they need oxygen, and they'll give up carbon dioxide. So the food nutrients now gets to our blood, transported to our cells. Our cells utilize it to produce energy. That's why we feel strong when we eat, when we are weak. But what happens, what mechanism goes on for the food nutrients like glucose to be taken from our blood? So as we eat, there's a mechanism that goes on that triggers certain stuff in our brain and causes our pancreas, a cell in our pancreas, to produce the hormone called insulin. So insulin is the hormone that is responsible to take up glucose, sugar from our blood, send them to our cells, so that our cells can utilize this glucose to produce energy, especially through a circle called the TCL circle, the tricarboxylic circle. So what happens? So as you eat, glucose enters your blood, insulin is produced by the cell from the pancreas. Take these glucose from our blood, send them to our cells, choose some mechanism, cause our cell gates to open, allow this glucose to enter the cells. Cell utilize the glucose, convert it into energy, we feel stronger. So when you eat a lot of glucose, what happens? A lot of carbohydrate. It means what? The cell responsible to produce insulin will continually produce insulin. As it continues to produce insulin, over time it will disrupt that system, right? So that's one form of diabetes, where the cells responsible to produce insulin cannot produce insulin anymore. The second type of diabetes is this: when the cell then produces insulin, but the insulin, another mechanism that causes the cell to uptake the glucose from the blood, cannot take the glucose from the blood. Meaning the cells, the stuffs on the walls of the cells now are unable to open so that glucose can enter. That's the second type of diabetes. That means what? Glucose will just stay in your blood. So that's what they call sugar sickness, when sugar is in your blood above the normal average. That's why. So what happens? You have to exercise regularly. What causes obesity is this now. You eat a lot of glucose, you eat a lot of sugar, you eat a lot of carbohydrate. The cell utilize what they can utilize. The excess, the cells convert it into what? The body converts it into fat and stores it into adipose tissue under your arms, your belly as a belly fat, under your breast, your head, your cheek, and the rest. That's how people become fat, people become obese. That's obesity. To break this stuff or to reduce weight, you have to exercise. Fat is just a polymer made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So when you exercise, hydrogen reacts with oxygen to produce water, H2O. Carbon dioxide reacts with oxygen to produce carbohydrate, CO2. Carbon reacts with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide. That's why you breathe. So there was a scientist who performed this experiment in the lab. As he breathed through a balloon, then he took the balloon and froze it with liquid nitrogen. The balloon became crystallized, meaning that the oxygen, the carbon dioxide he blew inside the balloon contained fat. So that's just what happens. So what happens in the case of stroke? You eat a lot of oily food, you eat a lot of carbohydrate. They enter into our bloodstream. As they enter into our bloodstream over time, if our bloodstream was like this, our bloodstream constrict, they become hard and constrict like this. That's a medical condition known as arteriosclerosis. As it becomes like this, if your blood was like this, your heart was pumping, if your blood vessel was like this, then your heart was pumping blood through your blood vessels, what happens? The pressure will be low, right? Your heart will not need to pump very hard. But now, when it becomes like this, your heart pumps very hard to allow that same quantity of blood to go through. So if your normal heart reading was like say 120 over 80 over time to go to like 200 over 100, which is high blood pressure. You get it? Yeah, that's what happens. So if now a blood vessel in your brain is clogged, such that oxygenated blood cannot flow to the cells of that brain so that the cell can eat and survive, over time that cell dies. If that cell dies, you get stroke. I want you to know that the left side of our brain is responsible for the right side of our body, and the right side of our brain is responsible for the left side of our body. So if it is this part of the brain that has a problem as a result of that stroke, this your right side will not function. If it's your right side of the brain that had the problem, your left side of the brain will not function. So all these things are the reason why as a human being you should control your diet, you should eat well, you should exercise, you should make sure you eat balanced diet rich in protein. Children up to the age of 7 to 10 to 12 years should eat food high in protein. Up to 18 years, you eat food high in protein. And as adults, you should lower your protein intake because now you don't need to grow anymore. So why do you need more protein? You eat energy-giving food, you exercise more to boost the energy level. So there are 3 types of blood vessels. You have the arteries, you have the veins, you have the capillaries. Arteries transport oxygenated blood from the heart under high pressure to all parts of the body. Capillaries are very thin, so they allow the exchange of nutrients between the cells and the blood. And the veins transport deoxygenated blood from the cells to the heart, to the lungs for reoxygenation, back into the heart, pumps through arteries to be distributed by our bodies. So basically that's what I was saying yesterday. Thank you. Bye.